My whole life, I always knew I was special. Even with no remainders, I could always move a decimal. Money on my mind while the girls that made un beso. Hustlers in my blood and it's running through my vessels. Just trying to clear the threshold, just trying to make a way. In my race against time, I could see an early grave. School to prison pipeline, 12 years a slave. Suspension and detention is conditioned for a cage.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Ryan Garcia criticizes Canelo's performance. So, you know, like many other fighters in the game, Ryan Garcia took to Twitter to react to Canelo Alvarez losing, and here's what he had to say. He said, Canelo lost fairly easy. Only way I see Bivol losing is if the judges decide to steal it from him. You can't win just hitting the arms, and they aren't scoring blows. So that's what he had to say. Let's just go to Ryan Garcia real quick. And here's what he said. Okay, hold up.
Oh, you just passed it?
No, he added some more stuff. So he said, congratulations, Bivol. You are a great, dedicated, and disciplined fighter. Great performance. He said something else right here. Yeah. He said, yeah, like last tweet was a dig at Canelo. I'm human. So what he said, some shady-ish about me, cry me a river. Then he said, some of you are thinking like I disrespected Canelo. He's a legend and a great fighter. Simply gave an honest assessment of the fight and gave props to Bivol. What is some of you on about? So that's what he said. I'm going to turn over to you, Trill Dollar Bill. What's your reaction to it? Do you think he was taking a shot at Canelo? Like, what's your reaction to that whole thing?
Listen, Ryan's a little kid. You know what I'm saying? That's what we call him, the kid Ryan. You know what I'm saying? And him and De La Hoya, they over there like bitter girlfriends right now. So excited over a loss or something that happened to
they
them.
out there like them Kevin Samuel haters.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You just waited. The dude Canelo did nothing but take you in and try to show you some ropes, showed you what you was doing wrong. First thing you want to do is to just, it's fine. It's fine. It happens when you're at the top. You know what I'm saying? When you're doing good, you're going to have a couple of exes hating because they ain't with you at the top. You know what I'm saying? So listen, Ryan saying anything, Ryan, you gotta go in there and you gotta show and prove. You stop worrying about you do an honest assessment of yourself. How about that, Ryan? You do an honest assessment of yourself. I'm not mad. You got every right to critique the fight and give your own, but it's how you do it. It's how you do it. It's how your words. Oh, I shout out to for the dedicated and disciplined fight. So is Canelo. It's the things and how you say it, Ryan. We know what you was going at. We're grown. You're not pulling the wool over our eyes. We all know how disgruntled girlfriends, ex-girlfriends are. You know what I'm saying? You know how it is when you're bitter. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it came out. Tasteless. But hey, what can you expect from a kid? He got some growing up to do, you know? So I'm not mad. Do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? But you didn't win that fight. Like my brother Kanan was saying, everybody's going to be so excited, so happy that he lost. You didn't do it. And your boss didn't do it either. You know? Hey, it is what it is.
Never would have lost if he stayed with Golden Boy.
Never would have took no tough challenges. He would have been in there with Ryan.
Yeah. The initial post, I have no problems with that. You know, because that was his honest assessment. Several, I follow several boxers on Twitter, and they all had comments about the fight. Right? That's just Twitter like language. Like that's just the common practice of Twitter. It's like you watch a fight, you critique, you give your opinion, whatever. The one tweet that he put that Trill actually brought up, the dedication and the discipline one, I feel like that was a shot at Canelo. However, I still would give Ryan the pass because remember, That's what Canelo said about Ryan. You know what I'm saying? That the kid's not disciplined and dedicated to the sport. So Ryan doing that was like a shot at Canelo, which was petty, I guess, but nonetheless, you could give him the pass because Canelo said that publicly to the world about Ryan. So Ryan's just giving him back that same energy, you know? So, but again, it's just weird because it's like you're using Bivol to get your point across as opposed to showing Canelo that he's wrong by showing the world you're dedicated to the sport by a better performance. That performance he had with To-Go was trash, you know? So, like, I think Ryan should prove Canelo wrong by fighting a great a top worthy opponent, right? And beating that person decisively. Like showing that, hey, I'm taking this sport seriously. I'm dedicated to the sport, this, that, and the third. That's how you could shut up Canelo and the Ryan haters. But, you know, watching Canelo lose to Bivol and then say, yo, shout out to Bivol for being dedicated and disciplined. We know what you're doing. You know what I mean? But I'll still give Ryan that pass only because Canelo brought the smoke first. So, yeah, Ryan's just being Ryan.
All right, TBE.
Yeah, it was just a petty response. Like G said, like they both Canelo criticized him on his last fight. And this is only right. It's your time to shine. Like your ex idol just lost poorly. He performed poorly. So you got the right to hey, you got the right to do what you had to say what you have to say. You got your right to your own opinion. But the way he did it showed that it was shots at Canelo, and you understand, like it wasn't like, oh, he was just bigging up Bivol. It was really, if it was a different fighter, if Bivol versus another fighter, he wouldn't have said nothing. He wouldn't even made a tweet. He wouldn't even took the energy time out his day to make this tweet, but because it was Canelo, that's why. So this is why we're talking about it, because we know the history these guys have.
Ryan, you're falling behind the pack. You're falling behind the pack. Look at Teofimo Lopez has already been undisputed. He fought Kambosos, he lost, but again, that's not a bad loss. Kambosos is a decent, solid fighter, and now he's talking about moving up to 140 and becoming undisputed at 140. Look at Devin the Dream Haney, who is now about to fight Kambosos to clear up this whole franchise belt mess and actually legitimately say we have an undisputed, which can no longer be disputed. After that fight, Devin's in position to do that. Gervonta Tank Davis is fighting on like his third or fourth consecutive pay-per-view card soon, and you are tweeting about Canelo Alvarez losing after your pathetic performance against To-Go Plate. Like, seriously. You are falling behind the pack, which is sad because at one point you had the best victory in comparison to Devin and even Gervonta Tank Davis. But you, because you stepped away from boxing, and I don't judge anyone, maybe you really did have some issues you had to deal with. But the point is, at the peak of your hard work, you pulled out of a fight and you stepped back and you let these other people run ahead of you. Your beef isn't with Canelo Alvarez. Your competition isn't Canelo Alvarez. Excuse me. Your competition is Devin Haney and Gervonta Tank Davis and Teofimo Lopez, and they have all pulled ahead of you. Instead of focusing on Canelo Alvarez and his career and giving Dimitri Bivol props for being dedicated, because Dimitri Bivol just accomplished a legacy-winning feat. You didn't. That's on his legacy, not yours. Mm-hmm. Canelo Alvarez's legacy is already cemented. In fact, he's the top draw in boxing. That's not going to change with this defeat. So again, Ryan, what does it do for you? What does the statement do for you? And these Canelo fans who are coming at you about what you wrote and you getting mad at them, it's because they perceived it that way. Now, it would have behooved you to not write something that could be seen as shade toward Canelo. You had to have known that's what it was going to be. You had to have known that. And like G and Trill pointed out, the word selection that you used was petty. It was like, oh, Canelo lost, so I'm going to say the guy who beat him was dedicated and whatever. But as G pointed out, you haven't proven that you're dedicated by Bivol beating him. You haven't proven that you're dedicated by that. We're waiting to see. You can only win by becoming great. You can't win by hopping on the bandwagon of someone else who did something great. So at the end of the day, what do I make of it? I do think he was taking a dig at Canelo. Like, haha, you lost and you questioned me. But Canelo was actually taking a risk you have yet to take in your boxing career, kid. So don't throw rocks at the throne. And that's just how I feel about it.
Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We are the Boxing Bros.